either. Listen to what he says in verse 10. Verse 10. Again, one of my favorites. Life verse. Life verse. How many have life verses? You know, those are the verses that speak to your life. And luckily, once a month, I get to hear this life verse as I'm just walking my way through the book of Proverbs. Listen carefully to verse 10. If thou faint in the day of adversity. How many's had any adversity lately? How many's gone through the valley of the shadow of death lately? How many of you have had to climb that narrow road, uphill narrow road, as you're just making your way down that narrow path toward the things of the Lord? How many? I mean, listen, here's what he says. If you faint in the day of adversity, then your strength is small. Well, why is your strength small when you have a source of all strength? It's because you're not tapped in. You know, sometimes when I go camping, because the lights and everything that work in my camper work off a battery, and when I get home, I have to plug in my camper because I have a built-in inverter, and it charges up the battery. If I forget to charge up the battery, and I've done this a few times, and it's a good thing that I keep a couple candles in my camper, because I've gotten out and go to turn the lights on and no light. And then it dawns on me, I haven't been plugged in. I forgot to plug in. And now I have no power. Now, I've gotten smart in my old age, and I put an inverter under the hood of my truck so I can start my truck and charge the battery. I know when my battery's dead where I can go to get power. If you faint in the day of adversity, it will be because you have little strength or no strength. You have little strength or no strength because you haven't been plugged in to the source of all strength. You've been too busy doing other things and you've forgotten. And now when you need it, you don't have it. And you have to go find it. Very important lesson we have here from Solomon. If you faint in the day of adversity, then your strength is small. Let me read you a verse from Isaiah chapter 40. I think that really drives this point home, at least to me and hopefully to you. In Isaiah chapter 40, verses 28 through 31, the great prophet writes this: Hast thou not known? Hast thou not heard that the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, he faints not, neither is he weary. There is no searching of his understanding. The depths of his understanding are beyond searching. Listen carefully. He giveth power to the faint. He's what you need to be plugged into. And to them that have no might, he increases their strength. There's your source. Even the youth shall faint and be weary. So, remember back when you were 20 years old and you thought you had all the strength in the world, and now you're 64 and, you used to be able to work all day and not have a problem. Now you work 2 or 3 hours and you're all cramped up. And listen, it's a bummer getting old. Even youth shall faint and be weary, and the young man shall utterly fail. But listen to what he says. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. You know that one. They shall mount up with wings as of eagles. They shall run and not grow weary. They shall walk and not faint, because they stay plugged in. If you faint in the days of adversity, it's because you just have a little strength. You don't have enough. And here's the key, you're not plugged in. Now, let me give you some good advice, and it won't cost you anything extra, I guarantee you. I've had People visit our church. I've had people, because we have 18 satellite churches, people email it, and when they find out how old I am, in fact, someone commented just the other day when they heard me on the radio, it sounded like I had a young voice. I don't even know what a young voice means, but there was a comment made because they found out how old I was, and they said, "You got a young voice." Well, you know what? Everything about you will be young if you're plugged into the right source. Amen? And so, the advice I want to give you tonight is very important. I've had pastor friends of mine. We've had people visit the church. We have a guy who has a business in Reno that every time he gets away, he comes and visits our church. And I ask him, why do you drive all the way from Reno? One of my good friends pastors at Calvary Chapel in Reno. He goes, yeah, that's our home church, but we like coming here every so often. And I said, well, Keith, why do you like coming here? He said, because you ignite a passion in me. You know, I look at you and I see some of the other Calvary Chapel pastors that are your age, and they're still doing the job, but they just don't seem to have the fire or the passion you do. And he came up one time after the service and said, what's your secret? Not a secret. You know, and I've had other people ask me, they said, well, you know, I don't just tell everybody this, but I found the fountain of youth. How many have found the fountain of youth? The secret is I make the greatest priority in my life to get alone with the Lord from time to time. And I plug in. I plug into a source of strength that knows no end. And when you plug into that source of strength,